During each item, please put your hand up to indicate you wish to speak. I will then invite you at the appropriate time. Please note that the YouTube live stream sound recording is dependent on the correct use of microphones. Therefore, can I ask you that when invited to speak, you remember to turn your microphone on and turn it off when you're finished. Please reference a page or paragraph number when referring to the agenda papers and keep your contributions as clear and concise as possible. Do we have any apologies for absence, Miss Bird?
Chairman, no, I've received no apologies, thank you.
Thank you. Item 4, to disclose the existence and nature of any disclosable pecuniary interests, other registrable interests and non-registrable interests related to items of business on the agenda having regard to paragraph 9 and appendix B of the Code of Conduct for members. Members are reminded that they are also required to disclose any such interests as soon as they become aware, should the need arise through the meeting. Do I have any declarations of interest? Councillor
Chairman, in the interest of openness and transparency, I am a personal licence holder, and prior to that, in fact, holder of a justice's on licence. And so, yeah, no, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Agenda item 5. It's an application for a review of a premises licence for Malden King Kebab, 159 High Street, Malden. We move to agenda item 5, found on pages 5 to 44. I refer anyone to the present to the aid memoir found on page 2 of the agenda pack, which details the procedure we will follow for this meeting. Please could I firstly ask that everybody has read the officer's report and appendices and the evidence submitted, which was circulated prior to this meeting. Yeah? Yes. Yeah, lovely. Should anyone have any late documentation in support of a representation of the application, this may only be introduced with the consent of all parties. I take it there is no further. Members and those present to advise and confirm that they have read all. Yep, we've done that. Now I may ask other persons present at this meeting to introduce themselves, starting with the applicant, Essex Police.
Good morning, Chair. My name is Ronan McManus. I'm the Senior Licensing Officer for Essex Police.
Thank you.
Good morning, I'm Rachel Saville, I'm the Chancellor of Malden District Licensing Officer.
Okay, thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I'm the Principal Lead Licensing Officer for Chelmsford City Council and Malden District Council. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, I'm Emma Holmes. I'm the Senior Legal Specialist, providing any legal advice the committee might need today.
Thank you.
Good morning, my name is Mehmet Gilgin.
Malden King is Highway.
I'm owner of Malden King Kebab.
Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Yunus Espalas. I'm just here to translate for him. And
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Now I call on Mr. Winter, the Licensing Officer, to provide a brief outline of the application. Mr. Winter.
Thank you, Chair. I just wanted to make one small clarification as to the address of the Malden King Kebab, which was 169. I do apologise, Chair. I think you said 159. That's just to clarify for the minutes.
Thank you.
The committee is requested to consider an application to review a premises licence made by the Essex Police under Section 51 of the Licensing Act 2003 and to have regard to representations made during the consultation period that followed in line with the promotion of the 4 licensing objectives: the prevention of crime and disorder, public safety, the prevention of public nuisance and the protection of children from harm. Members are advised that they have the following options when determining this application. They can modify the conditions of the licence, which includes adding new conditions or any alteration or omission of any existing condition, for example, by reducing the hours of opening or by requiring the door supervisor at particular times. They can exclude a licensable activity from the scope of the licence, for example, to exclude the performance of live music or playing of recorded music, where it is not within the incidental live and recording music exemption. They can suspend the licence for a period not exceeding 3 months, or they can choose to revoke the licence. So just a summary of the key issues. Malden King Kebab is a fast food takeaway outlet situated in Malden High Street, near to both commercial and residential properties. The premises is licensed for late night refreshments only, which allows for the sales of hot food and drink after 11 p.m. Full details of the licensable activities are detailed in the current licence as attached to this report, Appendix A. The original licence was first granted back in 2005 and has been transferred several times over the years. The current premises licence holder is Mr. Mehmet Gilgi, who has held the licence for only a short period of time since the 16th of March this year. On the 20th of April 2023, the licensing authority received an application for a review of the premises licence for Malden King Kebab, 169 High Street, made by Essex Police on the grounds of prevention of crime and disorder. The committee is also requested to consider the application, which is Appendix B, having regard to representations received and the requirement to promote the 4 licensing objectives. The grounds for review are that the crime and disorder objective of the Licensing Act has been undermined, in that immigration compliance and enforcement officers of the Home Office discovered 4 disqualified persons working illegally on the premises. The statutory crime prevention objective in the 2003 Act includes the prevention of immigration crime and the prevention of illegal working in licensed premises. In particular, employing a person who is disqualified from work by reason of their immigration status is a criminal activity which, according to the Home Office guidance to the Licensing Act 2003, should be treated particularly seriously. The application has been made properly in accordance with the Licensing Act 2003 and all procedures correctly followed. A public notice was displayed on the premises advertising the review after the day following receipt of the application, and all responsible authorities were notified of the application. The closing date for representations was the 18th of May this year. On the 21st of April 2023, all responsible authorities were notified of the application for the review and the premises of the premises licence for Malden King Kebab and invited to make representations should they choose to do so. On the 26th of April this year, the Licensing Authority received 2 supplementary evidence bundles from Essex Police to support their application for the review. This can be viewed at Appendix C of the report. On the 2nd of May 2003, the Licensing Authority received representation from the Home Office. Full details are attached to as Appendix D, should they choose to look at those. It should be noted that because there are no licensable activities for the sales of alcohol by retail, therefore, there is no requirement to have a designated premises supervisor or as a DPS on the premises. So to conclude, the relevant sections of the Statement of Licensing Policy are brought to the attention of the members and are as follows. Where relevant representations are made, the Council will seek to make objective judgments as to whether conditions may need to be attached to the various authorisations to secure promotion of the licensing objectives. This application has been correctly submitted. At the conclusion of this hearing, members are advised to consider the options as previously recommended. Reports need to have regard to the following 6 priorities which underpin the Council's vision for the district: supporting our communities, enhancing and connecting our place, helping the economy to thrive, smarter finances, a greener future, and provide good quality services. And I won't read them out, but members are requested to refresh their memory on the implications under the customers, equalities, risk and resources, financially and humane. Thank you, Chair. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Winter. Before I move on to the applicant, I have been remiss. I didn't introduce Councillor Durham and Councillor Thompson, so I would like to introduce those to everybody. I move to the applicant. Applicant, would you like to make a statement?
Thank you, Chair. The case is relatively straightforward, as you've heard from Mr. Winter. On Sunday, the 29th of January this year, immigration officers have attended the premises and found 4 Turkish nationals working illegally at the premises. 2 of these young men, they're all Turkish nationals, 2 of them have entered illegally and had appealed to remain, which had been refused. The remaining two, there was no trace of them having entered the country at all. The only other assumption to make is that they've also entered the country illegally. As you've identified, this is not an alcohol licence that we're looking for revocation on. This is a late night refreshment only. We would seek that that the late night refreshment is revoked entirely. That's a balance that the premises can still operate and sort of operate and create sort of support the staff that are there, but also sends a message that illegal working cannot be tolerated. The reason that that we need to make a stand is because people coming into this country illegally have been in the past been working for no payment. There was no protection under the law for illegal workers, and as we found here, that one of the 19-year-old males was being paid in cigarettes. So there was no protection. There's no minimum wage. There's no protection for these individuals who have come to our country. At the time of the immigration officers, it must be noted that the staff were met with hostile and aggressive behaviour, which is evidenced in the Home Office's statement. I think that's really encapsulates everything that Essex Police would like to say. Unless you've got any questions.
I will come to them in a minute. Yeah. So, Mr. Gigil, would you like to make an opening statement? Yeah.
Can I just go a quick brief of what's going around so it's just on point? Licensing after license belediyelik licensı daha çok yani almamız gerektiği mesela duyuyoruz ama aslında diyor ki işte 4 kişi yakalandı. 2 tanesi zaten UK'ye gitmeyen hiç belirsiz yoktu. 2 tanesi zaten immigration zaten tanınıyordu. Abim de sana diyor işte yani söylemek istediğim ya da eklemek istediğim bir şey var mı? Olabilir canım demiş. Anahtarlar falan alıyor ya. Bence anahtarlar alıyor. Genel anahtarlar alıyor. Can I just speak up to halfway?
Yeah, yeah.
One of the victims,
yeah.
The one that with the cigarette.
Can you put your mic on?
Sorry. With one of the victims that has got caught with a cigarette, he's saying that what he's saying is he's not buying the cigarette to him, he's buying the cigarette from himself.
Yani ben ona paralı falan yardım da çalışmıyordum onlar. O gün beni görmeye gelmişlerdi.
He's come to visit me that day. It wasn't something that he was purposely working for me. He's come to visit me.
Türkiye'den tanıyorum bunların hepsini.
He's like, I know him from back home.
Ülkemizde deprem oldu, yakınlarını kaybettikleri için benim yanıma geldi.
As he's lost his family members back home as well because of the earthquake that happened, he's come to visit him.
Yani benim yanımda çalışmıyorlar. O gün beni görmeye gelmişlerdi.
He's not one of my workers. He's just come to visit me for that period because of the earthquake.
Ama yine de özür dilerim yani. Kaçakların orada olması suçsa bunun için özür dilerim.
Is that I'm still sorry for obviously having someone in the premises that's legal and looks like he was part of us. He's just come to visit me as he's lost his parents back home, so I wanted to come and say sorry to him and see him if he's all right.
Okay, thank you. I will now open this up for questions. So, Mr. Rowan, sorry.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Just a point of clarification, the gentleman that was being paid by cigarettes in the report is offender 1, a 19-year-old Turkish male. He was wearing a Malden King Kebab branded shirt and found in the kitchen food preparation area, and he admitted to working at the business and that on the day he was arrested he had been brought to work by the owner and was not paid in money but in cigarettes and food.
Thank you. Councillor Durham.
Thank you very much, Chairman. Can I ask, how long have you owned or run this shop, please? 3 years. And are you aware that it is your legal obligation to check the status of anybody applying for a job to ensure that they can legally work in the United Kingdom?
Cihan içeride yakalandığı zaman Malden King şeyini giyiyordu. Demiş ki ben burada çalışıyorum. Bana para vermiyor, bana sıralarla veriyor. Diyor ki sen artık background check yapmıyor musun? Yani immigration yani mesela kaçak olduğunu sen çalıştırıyorsun misali.
Cihan yanında çalışmıyor. Cihan'ın İngilizcesi iyi olmadığı için Cihan'a tercümanla bağlanmışlar. Cihan'la zaten ben çalışıyorum falan demedim. Sadece bana sigara veriyor demiş. Yemek falan veriyor demiş. Bu da ben Cihan'ı tanıdığım için benim ailem diye. Yemek vermem.
Regarding of him having that person there, that he's no good with English at all, doesn't know how to express himself, and he must have just come there to visit him, to obviously see from the earthquake to see his family. And while he was there, he's saying I gave him one of my cigarettes to him myself, as just saying you're my mate.
That's
And
not the
food.
question, sir. The question is, there is a legal responsibility in this country for business owners when somebody applies for a job that they check that that person is legally entitled to work. Was he aware of this and did he carry out those checks?
Hani eleman alıyorsun ya, checksler yapmak zorundasın, hani bu ülkede çalışabilir mi, onu yaptın mı diyor ve onun şeyini yaptın mı, yani araştırmasını yaptın mı? He's been doing it.
Zaten benim yanımda 4 kişi daha çalışıyor görünüyor.
He's saying I've got my own 4 personal workers that's registered, that's working for me.
Zaten benim kampanyamda 4 kişi çalışıyor.
I've got 4 employees in my company that's working for me, that's in the business.
Ben VAT'imi ödüyorum.
He says I'll pay my VATs for them, tax for them. I've got 4 employees that's working for me, that's in my premises, that shows that they're working for me. He's like, I know I can't make anyone work that's immigrant. He's like, I'm searching, obviously, asking for the PO payslip number to add them to the working hours and go my accountant.
So did he know that the 4 people arrested were not allowed to work in the United
Biliyor
Kingdom?
muydun diyor, o 4 tane tutuklanan diyor, ülkede çalışamaz olduğunu biliyor muydun diyor sen.
Biliyorum.
He's like, I know they
He
were.
knew that.
Çalışmıyorlar bana.
But they wasn't working for me.
Okay, that's as may be. And then could you ask why he obstructed the officers in their legal duty when they visited in January?
As in aggressive.
Yes.
In January, is that the 31st of January?
That's when the Home Office Border Force officers raided the property. It's alleged that he was obstructive to one of the officers and they had to remove themselves from the premises.
Immigration bastığı zamanda immigration'a tartışmışsınız, kavga etmeye çalışmışsınız ve onun sebebini öğrenmek istiyorum. Neyden dolayı o kadar agresif şey yaptınız?
Ben yani ailemden dayımı, amcamı falan kaybettim, yengemi kaybettim. Zaten benim moralim çok bozuktu. Ama ben geldiğimde yine kendisine kötü davranmadım. Yani ben geldiğimde kendi elini böyle önüme koydu, beni gitmiş gibi oldu. Ben dedim elini çek, yani bana dokundu.
Sorry, I'm getting goosebumps. He said he lost his auntie, he lost his auntie's husband, he lost his little nephew. He's like, all of them coming on top of me. He's like, when I had someone hold him like that, he's like, it was just a reaction that I shouldn't have done. You know, I've went a bit aggressive then. I should have taken it a bit more calmly.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I didn't want it to.
Okay,
seem
I know, don't, Mr. Winter. I've got one final question. Do you know what the current national minimum wage is in the United Kingdom for staff?
Ülkede ne kadar United yani diyelim ki ne asgari ücretin ne kadar olduğunu biliyor musun diyor.
Biliyorum, sen bilmiyor musun?
He said I do know.
And it is?
Ne kadar?
£9.20.
£9.20.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Winter?
I just wanted to clarify, just for your benefit, that was the 29th of January, it wasn't the 31st, if that helps you at all.
Ayın 29'unda bastılar değil mi? That's something like that.
No, thank you. Not that Councillor Durham hasn't already asked. Okay. Thank you very much. I will now call on Mr. Giggill to make a closing statement to this council. So if you would like to make a closing statement, then...
What do you mean by closing statement, sorry?
Basically summing up
Just is there anything else that he would
Yeah.
like to say
Yeah. So,
on
yeah.
his behalf to support his case?
Yeah.
Senin tarafından bir ya da senin davrandığın bir şey söylemek istediğin bir şey var mı? Eklemek istediğin bir şey var mı? Hani bunları söylemek istediğin bir şey var mı?
Yok, benim tabilerim noktasına. Çünkü ben Yani şey yapmasınlar işte de yani saatlerimizi almayın.
He's saying all I could just ask from you lot is don't take my late night license from me regarding is I've got £20,000 rent a year and I've paid my VATs and my late night is where I make my most income obviously.
I just wanted to ask the police, is this going to be subject to a prosecution?
In relation to what, sir?
In relation to the employment of illegal workers?
That would be the immigration service that would undertake that.
Okay.
I don't want to second guess what
But
they're...
that is pending there? Yeah, we don't know.
I don't want to say yes and it's not.
Okay. That's UK Border Force, is it, that will
Yes.
decide that?
Thank you very much. I now call on the applicant, Essex Police, to make a closing statement.
Thank you, Chair. Again, you've heard from the premises. The fact is that there were illegal workers there, evidenced by Border Force immigration officers. And yeah, the facts stand for themselves. I don't think there's anything additional that I need to say. I think the facts are there, clear to see.
Thank you. Does...
Can I say one more thing?
Yeah, go on.
Peki orada da yaptığı e-mail'de yazıyor ki orada Ryan getiri yapılmış gibi yazıyor. Orada Ryan getiri yok gibi. Ben Ryan orada vermiyorum diyor. Ama orada yakalanmış yazıyor.
He's saying the day that when I received the email of the immigration people that's been arrested in my premises, it writes a name that was not in the premises. He's saying there's a name there that's got Ryan, Ram Gooch, that was not in the premises, but it said he was in the premises.
Okay. I'm going to go back to Essex Police to see if you can...
Yes, of course, ma'am. I'm reading from the statement of the immigration officer, and the details they have are, forgive my pronunciation, Gogus was a 23-year-old male, Mernez was a 23-year-old male, Kermiski, a 19-year-old male, and Selek we've mentioned. And there's mention of a Ramin Gogus.
Yeah, right.
And that's inquiries with the environmental health showed that a Ramin Gogos was working at the premises. So that Mr. Gogos might not have been there at the time that immigration were there, but they've linked in obviously with environmental health and used that data to establish the facts.
Can you make sure your mic's on, please?
Sorry. Diğer işte yani Rahim Doğuş orada değildi ama bizim gelme sebebimiz Rahim Doğuş içinde çünkü oradan link geliyordu yani bu orada diye bizim oraya girme sebebimiz onun içinde.
Ama o yok. Yani
O yoktuğundan 4 kişi aldık diyor yani o yoktu diye o diğerlerini aldık.
Biliyorum ama Rahim diyorda biri yok. O diğerlerinde işte dediğim gibi ben ziyarete geldi. Ailesini falan faydası. Türkiye'de deprem oldu.
Saying the people that was there, that 4 people was there to visit me. Yep. F L Durham was not there. F L Ryan Durham was not there. So, and the other rest just come to visit me and just to see if I was alright and just to say sorry for the people that I've lost back in Turkey of the earthquake.
Tişört giymelerinin sebepleri de çalışmadı kardeşim. Paraları yok. Ben de tişört verdim yani. Dükkanı tişört.
And the reason that he gave them the t-shirt is because they had nothing to wear and he said the only clean clothes that we've got is for my employees. That's with my label on it in my uniform. And the boys also, but we can wear that until we wash the other clothes. He's saying if the officers went into the house that we stay in, they would have seen their clothes all hanged up in the washing next to the door, waiting for it to dry, for them to rechange their clothes.
Hepsi Türkiye'de benim aile dostum olduğu için yardım amaçlı tişört verdim, tamamen elbise verdim.
He's saying I've gave them jeans as well, gave them underwear, socks. Obviously, they've, you know.
Thank you. Mr.
Just McManus.
McManus.
In clarification, Appendix D, it's the Home Office Enforcement Appendix, and it's your page 42 lists all the people that they encountered.
Yes, thank you. Right, is there, Mr. Winters, did you want to add anything? No, you're happy. Okay. In accordance with point 12 of the ABMR, this meeting will now close. Members will then discuss the evidence and representation will be made before reaching their decision. All parties will be notified of the decision within 5 working days of this hearing. Members are reminded that the applicant and or person making representation in relation to this matter may appeal the decision of the council to the Magistrates' Court. Agenda item 6, closure of the meeting. Members, thank you for your contributions this morning. Thank you, Mr. Winters, Mr. Gigi and the Essex Police. I now draw this meeting to close at 10:56.